What happens when childhood scars ignore you? Witness 6 individuals who boldly break the chains of silence on issues such as domestic violence, self-image, sexual identity, pornography, suicide, and generational bondage. These are the MSIB Monologuers.
So I come home from school, I do the whole homework situation, it was boring. Then I go to the kitchen and I have the best biscuits I've ever had my whole lifetime. It was so good. So I got the biscuits and I sit in the living room and I turn on the TV and my favorite show of all time, the Bill Cosby Show, is on. So I'm sitting back, chilling, and then I hear this sound. It's not from the TV. In my head, I'm like, you know what? They're at it again. I can ignore it. But the sound gets louder and louder and louder, and that's when I looked at the knife. I said stop! I can't take this confusion anymore. I will do anything. I'll get a job. I'll quit school. I'll even help pay some bills. Just stop fighting. Ma, Dad just wants you to stop nagging him about the small stuff, and Dad, Mom, she just wants you to hang out with us a little bit more because we're really not that bad. You can even pretend. I don't want to be a statistic like those other kids. I've begged, and I begged till I couldn't beg anymore, and now suicide runs through my mind each and every day. My parents were too selfish to realize that something was wrong and nobody cared about the little girl crying in the hallway, and now look at me. I'm older and I'm still dealing with childhood scars. I've inherited this disease rightfully, so don't you fix your mouth to judge me.
Every day since I was 10, video after video, tape after tape. I thought it was okay because my father was sitting next to me watching it. Women bent over, couches, counters, men jumping up and down in them. Man, that caused me to disrespect all women. I don't know what to do now. I try to get my mind right, but I just can't. No respect at all for women now. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy. I try to get my head right, but I can't. Porn has caused me not to respect women. That's just how life is. I talk good. I know I look good. I either know the Bible from Genesis to Revelations. But if you knew me, you would deny me. Cause see, I'm that guy that goes to an empty house, sits in a dark room, and pollutes my mind with pornography. You see, my father made me watch it as a little boy. It was his way of telling me about the birds and the bees. But now it has become my addiction. Yes, pornography has caused me to disrespect all women. And the relationship, I don't even want that. You see, you religious folks tell me he can't stand my kind. So I give you what you want. A pretty Christian to respect. I mastered this life rightfully. So don't you dare fix your mouth to judge me.
If I had to use one word to describe it, I think I would pick the word lonely. Not because I was physically alone, but that's how it felt on the inside. I grew up dealing with the repercussions of having teenage parents. My dad was 16. He thought it was cute and cool to have a little girl, but I wasn't cute enough to keep him out of prison. As for my mom, I don't think she ever really wanted me. I mean, every time she looked at me, it was like she resented me because I was a reminder of all the stupid and dumb mistakes she's made with my dad. Which, yes, that means that I was raised with my grandmother. She did the best that she could with what she knew, which was a whole lot of Jesus. So yeah, I grew up in the church, but I really didn't have an understanding of who God was. All I can remember is that I did not want to go to hell. But coincidentally, my uncle took me there anyway. I love you so much. I swear I do. But you hate me. It's right there in that Bible. And I don't really understand why this is all bothering me, because I've hated myself for most of my life. I don't think you understand what it's like to be me. To get up every day and have people looking at you and talking about you as if you're some type of monster. I swear, God, I feel like I'm judgment in the flesh. They say I look like a boy, but I say I look like him. I remember it like it happened yesterday. I was 9 years old and he told me to touch him and make him feel better. His daily devotion was making sure that I didn't tell anybody, and I thought to myself, dude, who am I going to tell? My household they're too busy. They're not paying me any attention. So I found attention. Girls. Yes, I said it. Girls. I thought that they could make me feel better. I thought that they could somehow take this pain away. But I'm still broken. It's still here. God, you have to do it. You gotta make it stop. And you gotta let these ignorant people know that I've inherited this mess rightfully. So they don't have the right to judge me.
Finally, he pops the lid on Pandora's box. My mother, she had one of the most beautiful smiles in the world. I'm talking about a smile that you could see from across the room. People used to line up and tell her how beautiful her smile was, and then they would tell me that I looked just like her when I smiled. And that when I smiled, I reminded them of her. But what these people didn't know was just how plastic and painted on that smile was. My mother was no happy person. And by that smile, she was no honest person. My mother was a liar. A woman who lied constantly in the name of obsession. And I know what you're thinking. Whoa, obsession? She was a junkie. Addicted to a little thing the general public likes to refer to as abuse. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why she liked it. I doubt that somebody like you could ever understand the beauty and the pleasure of pain. Are we done? My feet are starting to hurt. Don't you ever let a man put his hands on you. That's what my mama told me before she was shot to death by a jealous boyfriend. And I guess her words, they just never spoke louder than her actions. Because I have embodied the same pattern of abuse. All my life I witnessed as man after man continued to beat the hopes and dreams out of my mother, and I knew this future of mine, it had no air to breathe. And I wasn't safe. And I wanted her to defend me, but more importantly, I wanted her to defend herself. But she was weak. My mother was weak. Her her desperation to be loved and her insecurities, they wouldn't allow her to fight back. Now because of her examples, self-esteem has ignored me. And every man that I have ever encountered has reserved the right to physically and emotionally abuse me. And now when I look in the mirror, I see a reflection of my mother. Weak! And a young lady tearing at the seams and just waiting to die. But that right there is a sick obsession that I have inherited rightfully. So don't you fix your face to judge me. Growing up, I was Cinderella. I cooked and cleaned and did a whole lot of things around the house, whatever I was told to do. I didn't know my mom, but I had my dad, and it was good to see him. The 2 times a year he came home, Christmas, my birthday. So I was raised by my grandma. She loved me. She really did love me. She beat me. She called me out my name, told me I would never amount to anything. She even pulled a gun on me, like. So, you would think going to school that I would have friends and things would be all good, and man, who was I kidding? Tell me. And I need to hear you say it. I'll be everything I'm not, just to hear you tell me I'm beautiful. Please. When I was younger, they laughed at me. So often at times, I'd laugh with them just to feel like I was part of something. She's ugly, they said. Those 2 words became my best friends. I grew up doing ugly things that snatched my pretty away. I would do any and everything in my power just for people to validate my emptiness. My beauty obsession. What people see in me is not what I see in myself. Foundation, eyebrows, eyeliner, mascara, lip gloss, and an empty smile. Check. This is my life, day in and day out. Yes, I'm beautiful to you. But what I see when I look in the mirror is a face full of rejection. I'm reminded of that ugly girl in middle school who everybody laughed at, talked about, and never wanted to be around. I will never be beautiful. How foolish of me to invest my hope in a word that has never attached itself to me. Here I am, trying to make up for what I didn't get as a child. So you see, I've inherited this infirmity rightfully. So don't you fix your mouth to judge me.
What happened? You was better off asking me what didn't happen. Growing up where I'm from, you done seen everything. I'm talking about trash all over the place, bums on every alley, drugs, prostitutes. And don't let me start on the dope boys. See, where I'm from, you either get down or you lay down. You either a lion or a lamb. It's like survival of the fittest. So when I made it out, I made myself one promise that I'd do whatever, and I mean whatever it took, not to have to come back. Who am I? I'm Mr. High Achiever, always reaching for more. Weakness? Out of me? Please, you'll never see it. Yeah, I'm a child of God. I know the word of God. But it's something about being at home and alone where that word don't feel too deep. See, what you don't understand is when you're being told as a child that you'll never be nothing. You'll be just like your mother and father, no education, living paycheck to paycheck and miserable. But I made it. I'm successful. But even with all these accolades and achievements, I still feel empty. I keep a smile plastered on my face just so you won't ask me what's wrong. Being phony is the only thing I know to make it through the day. So when you hear about all this chaos that I'm going through, just know I inherited this rightfully. So don't you dare fix your lips to judge me.
We all have a story that starts the day we exit our mother's womb. The My Soul is Bleeding monologuers are not your typical eargasm. Don't fix your mouth to judge what you are not willing to understand.